Hello and welcome back to Reeling in the Piers, where we chat about and discuss all sorts of movies. My name is Gary O'Brien, and joining me today to talk about the 2023 animated superhero flick Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, it's my very good friend Eoin O'Boyle, so stick around, we hope you enjoy. Eoin O'Boyle, hello, how are we? Are we well?
We are well.
Woo! Spider-Verse, I don't know, it's very warm in this apartment, I'm trying to keep the energy up.
It is, yeah, no, this is second in person?
Second in person. First one was The Lawnmower Man, and let's just say this movie is slightly better.
Just slightly, though. There's no Pierce Brosnan.
Minus 500 points.
Not featured.
I have a scale now. I don't know if I told you about the Pierce Brosnan scale. And if Pierce Brosnan's on the movie, it loses 500 points.
Okay, so yeah, this is definitely down 500 points.
Especially when you think about it, it's only out of 10.
If we round up, about negative 500, yeah.
Yeah, negative 500 for this. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I suppose it's good to get the bad things about this movie out of the way.
Yeah.
So
energy up out. But yeah, no, we're doing the in-person one. Thanks for letting me crash your podcast studio.
Yeah, no problem. It's like looking around to paint the audience a visual audio description.
We're all about that.
Yeah, all about the visual and audio.
I feel like we did that last week, or I'm going to do it next week, whatever way I've sequenced these podcasts.
Okay, cool. We'll see which one comes first. Which one steals this bit first. But we got some furniture in the room, a bike. There's
some shelves.
We've just moved the desk into the middle of this space.
Yeah, worked out great.
It did, yeah.
I'll tell you what else worked out great. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, good segue.
I'm desperately looking for a segue.
Jealous of that one.
which is in cinemas now, and I would recommend people go see it. It's quite good.
That's only in cinemas now? God, it feels like ages ago.
I know,
since
doesn't
we saw
it? Yeah, because we went to see it a bit early on.
Oh, a bit
and by
early.
that, I mean one single
One
day.
day.
My God, a whole 24 hours though, we saw it earlier.
You know me about getting things early.
You are, yeah.
I do
Jesus Christ.
Calling back to a bit off mic where I paid €20 extra to play Diablo 4 1 week early because I...
€20 well spent?
€20 spent, yeah.
Okay, well, now we have two suggestions for the audience.
That's true.
Listeners, go play Diablo 4 and go watch Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, that's it. Welcome to Reading the Piers, where we give you 2 recommendations and only 2 recommendations.
That should be a good
tagline.
Thing. 2 recommendations only. But yeah, we recommend you should go see it, but we're going to talk a bit about it today, and how we're going to do it is we're going to do our non-spoiler section for a bit, just to kind of tell you some bits about the movie or whatever, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty spoiler section for you to come back to after you've watched it. If you have any comments along the way, there's a cool little Q&A feature on the Spotify where you can just put stuff in, and there's usually very funny jokes, and I just publish them on Spotify. It's very good. I've told Don about this now. He looks at me like I'm gonna spam that so much.
Just I can do Q&As. Can I answer my own A's?
Yeah, you can. You can cue your own. You can
A your own cues.
You can A your own cues. Look, it's 2023, brother. You can do whatever you like. But for today, I would ask for you to just talk about this movie called Across the Spider-Verse. So, we went to go see this the weekend it came out. The week it came out, and I guess do you care to tell people roughly what it's about and roughly what your thoughts on it were?
I think we joined in this movie about a month. I think it's a year and a half after Miles Morales.
Into the Spider-Verse.
After Into the Spider-Verse, he is now more comfortable in his Spider-Man role. The movie opens from actually not his perspective, but Gwen Stacy's perspective, played by Hayley Williams. And
Haley Steinfeld?
Fuck. Hayley Williams is the singer. I got the cast list and I just read the first name and then I...
Can I break our 2 recommendations rules?
I know this is a long-standing tradition on the podcast, but sure, you can go ahead.
Paramore, you should go listen to their new album.
Oh, do they have a new album?
I think so.
Oh, okay, maybe I should.
She's on tour. I assume they have a new album.
Maybe I should.
3 recommendations, and I'm sure that's where that bit will end.
Yeah. That's the rule of 3.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way we could break that.
Yeah. So this movie...
I'm just... Gary, if you could just use this later on. This clip later on when we break that.
Just have it an echoing sound in the background as we break it.
Sorry, continue with your synopsis.
But so now, Hayley Williams is now joins the Spider-Verse, and it's her intro. Yes, I know, Gary, I did say it wrong that time on purpose.
I was letting it slide.
Okay. So we sort of join her in her world, her story. We get her whole like the last movie. We get the whole Spider-Man intro from her background.
Yeah.
And it's about how she sort of gets introduced to the Spider League,
Big Spider Club,
the Big Spider Club,
Spider Clubs
for big Spider fans.
Should have called it Spider Web, but anyway. Anyway, that's fine.
That sounds more like an online board, to be fair, than an in-person group.
Or just, something that's in your attic.
You think I have an attic?
No, just one person would have in their attic. Some spider webs.
That's true, yeah.
It's very hot this environment.
Okay.
Sorry, continue telling me about the Spider League.
So the Spider League, they're team of Spider
Society
of America.
It seems to be global.
Okay, nice. But global, multi-dimensional, multi-universe, spanning organization. Spider Society. And they are the ones who sort of fix all the timey-wimey nonsense with when dimensions get, all the multi-dimensionals crash together.
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah. From the last movie, Hadron Collider. So it sort of is, the movie is about Miles sort of getting introduced to this team through Gwen and the emergence of a new villain played by Jason Schwartzman called The Spot.
Yep.
Very good villain.
Yep.
Very funny, great, just like kind of menacing as well, which he does pull off very well. But yeah, so then The Spot then is the threat to the multiverse, and it's about these Spider-Verse team. I already forgot what you told me.
Spider Society
folk. And it's about how they come together and try to defeat the villain of this now 2-part movie. By the way, yes, it is 2 parts.
That's the biggest thing this is the next thing I need to tell people. It's like, it used to be, so this used to be called Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. And then they just took off the Part 1 and then changed Part 2 to be called Beyond the Spider-Verse. And at no point in the advertising did they hint that this was a one-parter. And once I knew that, I went around and told everyone, except for one person who is our very good friend and other guest of the podcast, John Hackett, who had a furious reaction to this movie because he didn't know it was a 2-parter. Yeah. But that being said, I don't want to get into this too much now, but what I will say is, the movie does end. This is not too much spoiler. The movie kind of ends, not abruptly, but like you kind of feel like you can see the finish line.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the rug is kind of pulled out from you and it says Finn, Finn, the end, whatever. So it's a bit unsatisfying in that sense. However, I think there is so many good things in this movie for like 2+ hours that are well worth seeing it alone. And I know we'll probably talk about it in a sec, but like you kind of mentioned, the cast are great, the animation style, the jokes. There is so much good stuff in this that makes it a well worth cinema going experience.
I know, like it's a very hard follow up to beat like Across the Spider-Verse as like as a sequel. Like I know I went into this with like middling expectations just because I didn't want to be disappointed, even though like what is it, Lord and Miller, like they have done some of the best animation in the last few years between like Into the Spider-Verse, Mitchell's vs. the Machines.
Lego movie,
like they've been blowing the
Clarity with a Chance of Meatballs.
Did they do that as well?
Yep.
I haven't actually seen that one.
That's very. I feel like there was very funny jokes in it.
Would you recommend I see that one?
Nope.
No.
Oh, we've said before. There's 3 only on the podcast.
Got it. But
give me 5 more minutes to break that rule.
But no, they've been doing an absolutely fantastic job when it comes to animations, and I suppose this was no different. Where I don't know if this is better than Into the Spider-Verse, but it's definitely like as good as Into the Spider-Verse. I think the only feeling is, as you say, when after Into the Spider-Verse, I was left with a feeling of just like that was like the best animated movie I've ever seen. And in Across the Spider-Verse, I left it going, oh man, I have to wait till Part 2.
Yeah.
So like that's the only like probably what brings it down a little for me. But I'm still like, I'm gonna go see Part 2.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and I think what's in this still is like there's a good story being told. There's a good development of the characters from the first one.
Yeah, the story beats are really, really good.
Yeah. But what I will say as well is like the first one was so unique and there was nothing like it. So a lot of the praise from the first movie came from that. But this just has that same animation. It doesn't have the same animation, but it has that same approach and style. So it's harder to feel as excited about it than you were when you first saw it for the first time.
I was like, I went Into the Spider-Verse. It was just like, this is the first time we've seen a movie animated like this before. And now it's just like, oh no, we have seen a movie animated like this before.
But I guess the differences in this is the inclusion of some new Spider-Men.
Yeah.
2 in particular that are visually and comedically incredible, and we'll talk about it a bit more in the spoilers because I don't want to give away because I kind of like people to discover them themselves.
Yeah, especially like I remember one of them wasn't really in the
not at all,
media much at all, but like really was like stole the screen when he was on.
But yeah, I have some other things about this movie. There was one thing I saw which was apparently that they began working on this in 2019. They announced this, and it's been in production since June 2020. And apparently, with a visual style, because they have a visual style for each of the 6 universes they've worked in, they had over 1,000 people working on the movie. Oof. And because it's 140 minutes long, it's the longest animated film ever produced by an American studio. Jesus. So like, it is a chunky production. Apparently, they only finished the production as well a week before, 14 days before the movie came out.
Holy shit, 14 days.
14 days. I've that written here somewhere here. Yes, production on the film was completed on May 20th, 2023, 13 days before the US release date, which would have made it 12 days before we saw it, because we saw it slightly earlier.
We saw it slightly earlier. We were too busy. I didn't notice that because we were too busy rubbing elbows of all those celebrities.
So our very good friends at Sony invited myself and Owen to the preview screening of this movie, and Owen kept having to be reminded about who anyone was. And I'm pretty much my answer to everything was, yeah, he's from TikTok. Yeah, they're from TikTok. I didn't recognize anyone else.
So he's like safe answer, since I have yet to get TikTok and probably will not get TikTok, because that is a whole, like, I was addicted to Reddit for years, and TikTok does not seem like it would be great for my like free time.
And you know what? There's our fourth recommendation. Don't get TikTok.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Be good to your mental health.
Be good to your mental health. Don't get TikTok.
TikTok.
And I'm sure that's where that bit will end. But yeah, and I guess that was also kind of an interesting thing with that screening. I always find those things quite interesting because you don't really know who's going to these sort of things.
Yeah.
But what I will say is the audience at that were like hoopering and hollering and having a great time at it, except for the very end where that woman behind us, when the movie ended, she was like, "Are you for real?" And I was like, "Yeah, that kind of sums up."
You didn't get her on your email list for it was a part 2, or it was.
That's what I mean.
Part 2, like,
yeah, she doesn't know anything. She's too busy doing all those.
That was your chance to introduce yourself. You should have turned around and just like, "Hey, if you want to know more about these sort of things beforehand, just like reeling the peers, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, finger guns. Do you finger guns?"
Depends what state I'm in. And sometimes you have to like declare it, and sometimes you have to get other sort of things.
Okay,
it's too much of a logistical nightmare. Yeah. But yeah, no, like I said, so I think so it was a very cool experience in that environment. But I think by itself, it's a very unique experience of a movie because it has, like you said, those stunning visuals. The comedy is, like you said, incredible from the likes of
really
Lord and Miller.
Like, the writing is fantastic throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, so I think there's just so much good stuff in it that it makes it well worth going to see. So is there anything else you want to throw into the non-spoiler section before we get into the movie?
I think going on just like the amount of work that was gone into this movie, I think I saw something, there was like over 200 unique Spider-Man animated for this movie.
Like why?
So
like why?
Yeah, like imagine like some of those people would be only on like frame for like 2-3 frames, and like they have their own Spider-Man universe, and obviously they're all like call outs to like different movies.
And you have to feel bad for, you know, the fucking YouTubers who do those Easter egg videos.
Oh yeah,
because they have to pause every frame, look at it, and be like, I think that's the guy from the Amazing Spider-Man TV show, but it was like an unused like fucking version that they threw in the bin. They set the bin on fire, so nobody knows what it looks like except for this one hobo who was beside it and kept it. Like, it's just a lot of work they're putting into these.
I've seen like one of them where they were like squinting at like newspaper headlines where you would like only kind of see numbers, and it's like, this is universe, and it was like 99774, and you're just like, no way could they see what that reads. They're just making things up now to like pad out these video lengths.
100%, and we'll do that here. Right. Don't you worry. I was trying to see if I could find the number of Spider-Man in it, but over 240 characters, and it takes place in 6 universes.
6 universes is good as well. Like all like it's not like a fucking, what is it, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, where like each of these universes did have pretty good like unique styles.
I will say, much like for something that's called Across the Spider-Verse, they only really spend time in 2.
2, yeah, it's only 2. You really have a lot of time in 3, maybe like.
Yeah, but same with Multiverse of Madness, they were just in 1, if not 2. I just feel like if you're calling your thing like, geez, we're going into a load of multiverses, there better be a lot of multiverses in it. But like I said, there's a lot of multiversal Spider-Man in this to kind of account for that. But yeah, anything else before we get into spoilers and tell people to fuck off, go see the movie?
No. Can we tell people to fuck off and go see the movie in like a more polite way, or are we like sold on fuck off, go see the movie?
I don't think there's any other way we can deliver that message.
Okay, sure. Like, it's your podcast.
It is. Yeah. Spoiler section. I feel like I need a noise for spoiler section.
Make it a T-Rex.
Why?
Because the T-Rex Spider-Man.
I meant for like all of my.
Oh, all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, maybe not a T-Rex.
That's why I was just like, why?
Okay, maybe T-Rex is on my mind. Watched 65 million the other day.
Just 65.
Just 65.
Just 65.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, God, man.
You said the other day. It was yesterday.
It was yesterday. That movie is. It's a movie that people should watch if you have an hour and a half to spare and want to make fun of something.
Oh, are you saying that's a 5th recommendation?
Oh,
no.
No, I don't want to be that. I don't want that to be a recommendation. I take it back. I veto that recommendation.
That's fair. Right, shall we get into the nitty-gritty of this movie? What was your favourite universe in the movie? Okay. Or what was your favourite different variant of a Spider-Man in the movie?
Okay, different. Favourite universe in the movie could have been Lego Universe. Lego Universe was so fucking good.
Do you want to know something about that Lego universe?
It was Jay Jameson.
It was animated by a 14-year-old called Preston Mutanga, who was hired after Phil Lord and Chris Miller were impressed with his Twitter video recreation of the entire trailer in Lego.
I'm because of that fact, I now know if I didn't say the Lego universe, you would have said the Lego universe.
It's funny. I'm very glad you brought it up because
I know.
I get these segues. It's great.
No, it was just great. Like, cameo was very funny. Apparently that was like the original audio from Spider-Man 1 as well, of J. Jonah Jameson, or Spider-Man 2 or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
I thought he came back and re-recorded it. Maybe not.
He did one of the, because
okay.
there was a lot of J. Jonah's in this
Just
movie, but
checking
I think one of them was some of the audio has just like was taken from
Fair.
the previous movies. No, like, so that was a great universe. And my favorite Spider-Man, it's definitely between, what was he called?
Spider-Punk
Spider-Punk was very funny.
or Praviter Parkiar.
Yeah.
Spider-Man India.
Yeah,
Sorry, I can't pronounce it.
like Indian Spider-Man, yeah, great. He was excellent.
He was unbelievable.
Actually, well, he was voiced by...
Oh, the guy from Deadpool.
Yeah, voiced by Karen Sony. Yeah, the taxi driver from Deadpool.
Yeah, and he's so good in this. Do they go to? Why do they go to this universe? Because
just Gwen was.
Oh
going
yeah,
to,
Gwen was hopping about. Yeah. But like it's again really cool universe because like the animation style is different, but then also like how Peter Parker in this universe uses his webs with like he has these like bangles.
Yeah.
And he's just such a light and bubbly character as well. It's just like
so charismatic. Like his whole thing. Like there's obviously like Gwen and Peter having like Miles having like a bit of a spat.
Yeah.
About like why did you follow me? But like he's like just backtracking through the whole thing is very funny. That and like all like the animation sound effect noises are all in Hindi.
Yeah.
Which is great. Like you see that with a lot of the things where like even early in the movie when there was the Da Vinci-esque vulture, that is Italian. Like the sound effect ones are Italian and things like that. So it's all done. Like all those little touches are so fucking good.
Well, and again, something that could only be achieved with having like over 1,000 people working on your movie. Yeah. But yeah, like, so I loved all those sequences. Spider-Punk, voiced by Daniel Kaluuya. Let's just go to the Spider-Man, will we? That's probably the easiest way to do
Daniel
this.
Daniel Kaluuya, famous British actor. Daniel Kaluuya.
Oh, and you say that as if
always knew it.
You always knew that.
Always knew it.
It's not like I walked into this room maybe about 5 minutes before you started and you're like, Daniel Kaluuya voices Spider-Punk. I would have thought it was a British person.
See, that was
and my brain needed just a bit of a cool down to know how to deal with that situation.
That was a great impression of an alternate timeline where that conversation didn't happen because I knew he was British.
Yes, that's true. Sorry, yeah.
Like,
sorry, I get confused. I get confused with all the different universes.
Exactly,
and stuff. He's very funny. His animation style, it's very like the Clash. I can't describe like punk rock from like
punk rock posters and everything, like newspaper clippings put together. I think he's animated as well at like was it 4 frames per second as opposed to like everyone else?
Why not?
Or 6? He could be 6.
I was reading online all the different like animation techniques used for this movie, and I was just like, 1, none of this is going in. 2, no one wants to hear me talk about it. So I was just like, I'll just wing it.
Yeah.
So punk rocky Spider-Man animation, but also has this attitude of just so anti-establishment, anti-capitalism.
Every line is gold, like.
And I notorious anti-capitalist and anti-establishment man David Scanlon.
Yeah.
When I saw this movie, I texted him after, just immediately being like, "When you go see this, there will be one Spider-Man you love." And then, what did he say? We'll cut this out because it's too good. One sec. Sorry. I'm gonna stall the whole podcast.
He's gonna keep on saying sorry. He's actually holding his breath right now until he finds this. It's been 30 minutes.
I got a text from David at 11 p.m. on the Saturday being like, fuck the establishment. So and he very funny. Again, everyone's fantastically funny in this, and I think one of the things, and I was going to say it a bit more for later on, but I think one of the things about the voice casting in this movie is they've kind of left themselves open to be able to do live action versions of these characters.
Yeah.
Because everyone kind of looks and has the same vibe of who they're portraying on screen, which is so rare. I've never seen anything like that where they kind of like...
They really base a lot of like the animation, what the images they're going off, off the eye, the voice actors themselves. So they are leaving themselves, like Sony are sort of giving them their options if they want to do this. Mm-hmm. No, he was also very good, like all like his little bits like throughout the movie of like stealing tech when he was walking through the base.
Yeah.
And obviously that's how he makes the fucking device for Gwen. Is from all the stolen tech.
Yeah.
Because I think he named it something funny. It was like a knockoff
yes, I can't remember what he called it. But yeah, and like I guess maybe just to get, if people are listening and they haven't seen the movie, I guess just a kind of a fucking light speed thing of the plot. Sorry, which is just basically like Miles wants to get into this spider society, which Gwen is a part of, but for some reason he's not allowed into it. And the leader of this spider society, a Spider-Man who's called Spider-Man 2099, or also Miguel O'Hara, played by Oscar Isaac, wants to get him home because he's after crashing his way into this multi-dimensional fucking Spider-Man society place. I'm not explaining this very well. It's very hard to explain. There's a lot going on.
A lot of Spider-Man. There's like 240 Spider-Man.
There's too many Spider-Men. So what happens then is they're trying to get him home, but also there's a looming threat, like you mentioned, called the Spot, who is a figure from Miles's past, who now wants to sort of take Miles's life and destroy it effectively. And he is a multi-dimensional being, and he's becoming more powerful as time goes on. So the Spider Society is trying to stop him, but also send Miles back because Miles has realized that apparently his father is going to die, and the Spider Society are saying that needs to happen because it's a canon event. So Miles is trying to go back and stop that effectively.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Just wanted to, again, just why we jump around, just to kind of lay some more groundwork of those moving pieces. But villains, we spoke a bit about Jason Schwartzman's The Spot, but what did you think about Oscar Isaac's Miguel O'Hara?
I really liked him. I thought he was very good in the movie. He was sort of like, he still had like that Spider-Man charisma nearly, where like he was still like not as uppity as the other ones, but he still like was a bit jokey and things like that. But he was also an older Spider-Man, so he was very no nonsense.
Yeah,
because of like, again, traumatic past, very Spider-Man.
He's very Batman-y.
He is. That's why I think she called him like the Caped Crusader.
Yes, I forgot about that joke.
Like a callback to like how moody
yeah.
he is. But like he nailed the role, I think. He was very like, he did like the anger very well, and sort of like his threat. So one thing I do want to say about him is I had this question after the movie, is just like, is this guy being set up to be a villain in the next one possibly? Because obviously Miles became Spider-Man because of the spider that was sent to him that was from the universe 42.
Yeah, so Miles is in universe, I think it's like 1601 or something.
Yeah.
But the spider that came to kill him was brought into his dimension by the Spot, who was working as a scientist at the time.
Yeah.
And then that spider bit Miles when it wasn't supposed to.
Yes. And so that spider itself was made by Miguel O'Hara, though.
Was it?
I think, wasn't that what Miguel said during the movie at some point? Maybe I'm misunderstanding this. Yeah. I thought Miguel said it's something that like, it was his spider that was supposed to bite the guy, someone from Universe 42.
Yeah, so the Miles at the end of the movie, because the Miles we know basically goes back to a universe that he thinks is his, but actually is the universe that the spider that bit him came from. So that Spider 42 was supposed to be bite the Miles in that universe.
Yes. So it just left me question, is just like, is Miguel like sending spiders through like?
Oh no, universes? I think it was the Spot took the spider out.
He did, yeah. But like, if Miguel had made the spider to bite someone else, is Miguel making spiders to bite people to make Spider-Man?
Oh, I think I missed that.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I was wrong about hearing this, but like that's like a thing that seems like pretty big in the plot.
It seems very evil.
Yeah, like he's making Spider-Man.
Oh,
if I'm right about what I heard.
Then how the fuck did I miss that? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I've accidentally stumbled onto something.
Yeah, maybe, that could be the evil twist at the end. But yeah, a very looming threat throughout the whole movie. And like you say, he's a bit no nonsense, but like you kind of expect that because he has a bit of a tragic backstory, and he's trying to run this spider society to shut down all these sort of multi-dimensional events.
Yeah.
So you kind of believe him at the beginning. It's like, look, he's just trying to get the job done. But then when we kind of like see his vicious nature towards Miles, there's probably something else looming going on there as well.
His vampire tendencies that are very glossed over in the movie.
They were really glossed over in the movie because they mentioned it. I was kind of waiting for that to come about, and it never did.
Yeah, not really, because like there was the whole bit where he nearly like bites the vulture at the start of the movie. Like he takes out his fangs within the camera, and then like that just didn't really come up again. And I'm just like, I would have expected to see more from that.
Yeah. Speaking about that opening sequence, I know I'm jumping around because there's so much going on in this movie. That opening sequence,
that opening fight,
Da Vinci thing.
Oh, it was so good. It was so fucking good. Between just like the schematic diagrams, like the Da Vinci diagrams with the gadgets the Vulture were using, they were so fucking cool. Like that was probably my favorite animation like style used in the movie.
Yeah. For me, I think that's where the movie nearly peaked in a way from an animation and action perspective.
Yeah.
There was obviously more, emotional developments later on that probably are kind of heightened other elements of the movie. But when it was like firing on all cylinders, I thought like that opening scene, because Gwen has to kidnap this Vulture who's like one of the multi-dimensional beings that Miguel O'Hara's trying to stop then, and he's just speaking Italian, and he's like using all these cool like Da Vinci-esque inventions to try and shoot people. Oh, it's fucking
It's
unbelievable.
so cool. He has hammer space, which is which is like the space that these cartoon villains can like take from like and like things that shouldn't fit in it, they come out of. And like that's just how like Miguel O'Hara like explains it as just like it's hammer space. The cartoon characters can do crazy things.
But actually, this brings me on to another point. I know I'm jumping around. So
I think this movie is just going to be like we're going to talk about something. It's going to remind us of something else, like the spider web.
Exactly.
We will be crossing. We will just be going from nodal points to other points and keep on going and forming a web.
We just keep seeing it. We just see like a
podcast.
fly over there. We're like, ooh, let's give that. Let's go over there. And then we see, oh fuck, we've caught another one. We have to go over there and get that one.
Yeah.
So speaking of that fly over there, we went to go see this in IMAX. Very, very cool because it's a very overwhelming movie. But I realized we were either sitting too close to the front or the movie was too... It was just too all over the place in the sense that like whenever the little hammer space things popped up in the bottom right, I feel like I had to move my whole neck to go over and read some of it. It was massive.
Yeah. And I had an issue as well. Maybe I think it was an IMAX issue. Maybe I've heard this issue other people were having. Sound, yeah. Because I actually found it very hard to understand what characters were saying sometimes.
Well, you just said it was just specifically the Spider-Punk character you couldn't understand.
I maybe didn't get through the Cockney accent or like no, they're not Cockney. Sorry, like
is it not Cockney?
Is it a punk Cockney accent?
Yeah, because he uses Cockney rhyming.
Oh yeah, that's true. But yeah, no, I had a hard time understanding him a lot. So a lot of times during the movie, I'd have to like nudge Gary. He was like, "What did you say?"
I said, "Fuck off! Leave it alone! You're making a show of me in front of the TikTok people.
Why did I even take you?
Finger gun." But the sound, I didn't notice anything like that, but I know David, Ely and John, other guests on the podcast, went to go see it in Rathmines, and they were saying they didn't position the screen right because some of the text box was like cut off.
That's shit.
Yeah, very shit.
No, I think I've heard they have fixed it now, that they've readjusted the sound from movies now.
It kind of makes sense when you only finish your movie 13 days before it comes out,
true,
that you don't really have much time to like do final checks on everything.
One guy was just like, "Oh man, I've recorded all this on my laptop."
You check the sounds, Jerry, right? Jerry, what are you doing? Why are you frantically typing? But the visuals, let alone the sound. I didn't think the sound was as good as the soundtrack wasn't as good as the first one.
No, it wasn't. Like I'm even listening to the album like halfway through the soundtrack album now. Like it's okay. Like, I like the end credit song. It's probably my favorite so far. The end credit song is really good.
There's one in the middle. I can't remember what it is. If anyone actually knows, can you use the Spotify Q&A and tell me? There's a scene where Miles and Gwen are zipping about, and there's a cool vibey song playing. Okay, yeah. I'd love to know what that is. Yeah. But there's no song in this that's as good as Sunflower.
Yeah, I think Hummingbird was gonna be like it's the one that Miles is listening to in the headphones when Gwen shows up, and I think that was gonna be like the Sunflower of this movie, but like it's just personally it hasn't had the same blow up. Like,
did you know Post Malone also is in this movie as well?
He is the guy who says, "Is that a
Banksy?" So that's now two Spider-Man back to back, Spider-Verse movies back to back, which I loved. But the visuals, everything looks fantastic in this. There's one scene in particular with Miles and Gwen upside down, like hanging out, and it just looked like a screensaver.
It isn't the trailers, but like it's still like a breathtakingly good scene.
Because with that score and with that music, I think the score is very good. I just think the soundtrack in terms of like the individual songs are fantastic.
Even like the script like sets tone of that scene really well, where it's like mellow and it's just like sort of the
awkward teenagers kind of like.
And it's where Gwen is at the moment between like wondering like she's like just sort of not thinking that being like Spider-Man can work out, and you have to, it's just like such a loner role, and that the weight of the responsibility is really getting to her in that moment. So it's like, it's mellow, it's good, but then it's Miles who sort of like, even though he's having his own family drama at the moment, him being optimistic about it.
Yeah. Because that's one of the things this movie does so well, because like we've talked about the jokes, the action, the score, like the actual emotional family drama of this movie is, and I only caught myself when I was writing my review about this, where I was like, it's so rare to see such an such an emotional family drama told within a multiverse. Oh, that was Everything Ever All at Once. Okay, well, this is the second one then.
Like, they've done it. You know something that Everything Everywhere All at Once and this also have in common? Bagels being quite a central theme.
Oh wow, it is.
There's a lot of bagel references. Even above the Spots apartment, it's a bagel billboard.
You're just below my mind.
Yeah.
Fuck, I didn't think about that. But yeah, no, like the whole thing about Miles also having to like coming of age thing of just like, who is he now, and how does he fit in as a Spider-Man, but also how does that relationship between him and his parents work as well.
Yeah, like he's really feeling the loneliness now, since like he had that connection with all the Spider-Man, now that he's never, like his whole like thing in this movie is wanting to become a scientist so he can like figure out cross-dimensional travel.
Oh yeah.
So he can make friends.
Yeah.
Which is like kind of sad for Spider-Man, but
that's
like
So excessive.
Yeah, I know, right?
Just like, I want to have friends, but just let me find a way to travel between dimensions to do so.
There's no other way. He has that one friend. He has his roommate who he seems to be friends with.
Big Spurs fan.
Big Spurs fan. Had the Spurs picture up. Like,
Son Heung-min.
During that scene, me and Gary were looking at two very different things where he was playing the Spider-Man video game. I was like, Spider-Man video game. Gary was like, Spurs poster. Spurs poster.
Look, you expect to see Spider-Man Easters in a Spider-Man one. You don't expect to see Tottenham Hotspur's good striker from last season, but Bipu this season, Son Heung-min. Mr. Smiley Boy. See, he's a big fan of, what's his face? Tom Holland, because he was doing a lot of Spider-Man celebrations. So
that's nice. I'd say he must have been chuffed. I would have loved to see his reaction in that movie.
He's probably feeling a bit depressed after a very bad season of football. But sure, look, hopefully this
was a silver lining.
I hope so. And I guess another thing as well is like you say, that sort of connection between him and his parents, and how that somewhat feels way more strained in this than it does in the first one, because he's doing all the Spider-Man and about. Yeah, I don't know. Like, again, see, I have this thing about this movie where it's like it's too long for for the overall story it's telling.
Yeah.
In that, like, what's in part 2? I don't like what's in part 2 that could have been pushed. What's in part 1 that could have been pushed into part 2? And I think I would have liked to see more of that family dynamic stuff. Maybe a bit more. I don't know.
Yeah, like when it was in the movie, it was good. Like, we had a few good scenes between the mum and the dad and Miles that I think worked very well. And it's like, his mum is much more of a character in this movie than the last movie. She does great. Yeah, sorry.
Also, I'm laughing because she's also in Transformers Rise of the Beasts. And I was just spending the whole movie like, where the fuck do I know her motherly voice from? And then it's also from Spider-Verse. Okay, sorry. Fair.
But so like she does a great job. There's a lot of like good like character building from her, and having to like let her son go to like grow up. And she does well. It was a very funny scene between like Gwen being introduced to the family. They bring back the Gwanda like fake name she used.
Oh yeah.
The movie again is very self-referential back to like the first movie. Which it's the funny strikes. Like before this podcast, I watched like a 40-minute catch up on this movie. Not a hope you're remembering all of it.
No. Well, no, and I think one of the other things, like, not that I missed so much, I actually kind of like that we didn't get Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Pig back.
Yeah.
I like that they look like they're going to be included in the third part, or like the third movie, which means I would have actually removed Peter Parker, the older Peter Parker. I would have taken him out. I would have saved him.
Peter B. Parker.
I would have saved him for the second part. I would have had Spider-Gwen in it, but maybe not as much. And I would have liked to focus on the new characters a bit more, like Spider-Man India.
I suppose if you gave them a bit more screen time, I think it would have probably went well. Like even more punk rock Spider-Man, more Spider-Man India.
And we haven't even talked about Spider-Woman yet. Is Ray?
Yeah, that's true.
Like
actually,
Jessica Drew.
She wasn't in the movie as much as I thought she would be.
She's using the advertising quite a lot.
Yeah,
and I just felt like it's weird to get a comedic actor like Issa Rae to play such a
serious,
straight-laced, like, not, I don't like to say boring, but I'm just like, what was her deal?
She was just like the sort of like the backup towards Miguel O'Hara. She was just like the kind of not as serious Miguel O'Hara, but also just like as strict
kind
sort
of
of
like
thing.
a henchman, I felt, which I just think is like for a Spider-Woman character, and like it's an interesting element that like she's pregnant in it, which I thought is like there's two characters in this who are putting the lives of their children at risk a lot during this movie. One being Issa Rae's Jess Drew. But yeah, I just would have liked to see more of it. When you look at like the new characters we got, like I said, Spider-Man India, Spider-Punk, and The Spot, and any other new characters that kind of stuck out, like the AI assistant, who we only saw a bit of a glimpse of.
She was really good though, actually. She was very funny.
And then also there's a VR Spider-Man in it as well.
Yeah.
I forget her name. Is it Kimiko? Or is that the name of the actress? I forget.
She's looks like she's going to be in part 2 anyway, because she's part of the team.
So the Greta Lee plays Lila. That's the AI assistant. And then there is also, where's her name now? That's going to annoy me to the high heavens. Oh yes, no. Oh, I don't know where her name is. There's too many. Just look what I'm looking at here to try and find the names of people. There's too many people.
Why not just go on IMDb?
Because I had Wikipedia open.
Okay.
Anyway, there's an actress who plays, I think, because they think she's in Orange Is the New Black. She's an actress from that, and she's very good. And we don't see her. She's in it for a significantly less amount of time, but like she's very charismatic. You understand her deal. She has a bit more kind of relatability, I suppose, compared to Jess Drew.
I suppose like that's a good thing to go into is the whole like introduction to like was it Neo York? What's like the Miguel O'Hara's
Nueva York?
New Wave York?
Oh man, we're the two whitest boys.
New Wave.
Nueva York. Buenos dias.
But for that New York, just the whole introduction to that scene, all the different Spider-Men that are like introduced there, like this cowboy Spider-Man.
Played by Taron Killam.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh,
I only found that out
Andy
earlier.
Samberg is a Spider-Man.
Andy doing his best Nick Cage impression.
He is, yeah.
He's playing Ben Reilly, is that his name?
I can't remember the name. The Crimson something?
Ben Reilly, yeah. Scarlet Spider.
Scarlet Spider, that's it. I was the wrong colour there. I was like messed up.
Right colour, wrong shade.
Yeah. But he was very good. He was very funny in it. Again, yeah, very like sort of dark and brooding. Then we got that fucking amazing escape scene.
That was very good.
It was so well done, just between like all the Spider-Man interactions. We got which I like. People really liked the bit of going through the psychiatrist's office, and maybe it was just because it was in the trailer that I was just like, it
didn't get a big laugh at the cinema, but again, I think that's because, like you say, it was in the trailer. But there's the whole thing of like grab Spider-Man and they all start pointing at each other.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't like
it. Really knows the fan base well.
They did that bit again though. That's the second time they've done it. They did it at the end credits of the last one. It was also in like the MCU one. It's a bit that they really love putting into the movies now.
The name of that VR Spider-Man was Margot Kess. She plays Spider-Bite, and Amandla Stenberg is the actress. She's very good. I just want to give that a shout out. Anything else good about that escape scene? No, it's just ever escalating, but there's also those emotional moments.
The high emotional moment at the end when it's Miguel O'Hara's like really lost his temper and is like it's like basically blaming Spider-Man. That's all his fault, that he wasn't supposed to be like Spider-Man. Like he was now. It's only because that he was bit by that spider that the original Peter Parker died, and it's his fault that everything's going wrong.
And that's a great example of like a movie building on the original without completely retconning much, but like introducing layers into that movie as well as the current movie, because like nothing about this movie that I'm aware of anyway breaks the logic of the first one, but adds so much more to it now, which I think is just a fantastic. It's the best result you could hope for in a sequel. Yeah,
no, it was a good, like, I didn't really see them going that way with the twist of the fact that because Miles existed took away the chances of the other Peter Parker and the whole universe without Peter Parker now because of it. Like, it was good questions that I didn't have from the first one, but I'm glad they're sort of bringing into play now to sort of like see like just the consequences of those those actions that we didn't think of. So
because now in that universe 42 where the spider was supposed to bite Miles, it didn't bite anyone, and now it's overridden by crime, and we run into Miles' uncle is still alive, voiced by Mahershala Ali, came back for it, and then we run into Prowler Miles,
Miles Morales,
voiced by what's his name, Miles G. Morales. Did you say that? He's voiced by a guy called Gerald Jerome, who people would know from a TV show called When They See Us, and he is excellent in that. He's also in Moonlight as well. I forgot about that. He plays Kevin.
That's why I recognize him. He's in Moonlight.
He is a fantastic. I didn't know. I assumed they just got your man Shameik Moore to play
same.
both.
I thought it was the same. But no, like it was. He's very much more like Spanish in this. Like they put the accent on the second name very well.
And I love that because it's clearly because his dad has died in that universe. He's obviously more closer to his mother, and his mother being Puerto Rican, I think.
Yeah. It is Puerto Rican.
Yes.
I know it's very Puerto Rican because there's a bit where at the start of the movie where she starts chastising Miles for getting a B in Spanish. Yes. When she snaps, the little like a sound effect noise is the Puerto Rican flag.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Oh, there were so many little things like that.
So many little things you're going to miss,
But yeah, and you notice that because he's saying my Morales, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's not try that accent.
No.
The two whitest boys.
Miles Morales?
Nueva New York. But what I was going to say, so I think, to be able to see that payoff of that sort of emotional moment and then that sort of like a what the fuck's going to happen next kind of thing.
Yeah.
I did like it, but as I've kind of said to many people, so if they're listening, I do apologize because I've told you a million times about this, which is because the movie ends with such a clear path to the resolution.
Yeah.
It's frustrating that you're just like, could they not have just let the movie be 50 minutes longer and the story's over? Yeah. But to be told you have to come back is a bit frustrating.
Yeah, because now we're going to have another movie with another part, like another like act 1, act 2, act 3.
Yeah.
Even though we just did an act 1, act 2, act 3.
I'd argue we did an act 1, 2, 2.5.
Yeah, no, I think they doomed it. I think is the way
they doomed it. Yeah.
They doomed it. Where
they gone done doomed it.
they doomed it now. Where we got we got 1.5. We got like half a movie, and now we have to wait for the other half of the movie. So even though I really like this half of the movie, the second half of the movie is really bad.
It's all gone.
It's all gonna be bad.
Yeah.
And granted, I have honestly more confidence in the part 2 of this though than I have the part 2 of Dune. Like Dune could be really good. Wait, this isn't a Dune podcast. What have I wanted into?
But what I will say about the Dune movie is, what's the best scene in that?
The Dune movie?
Yeah. Exactly. Whereas you can easily say like 2 or 3 things that are very good about this movie.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
honestly don't know what the best scene in the Dune movie
It's probably
was.
the sandworm eating the big spice
Crawler?
collector.
Yeah, that's true. I have like good memories of like when the assault happens and they're running out in the field and it's like raining down at the slow shells going through shields and things like that. It's again.
And it's not a Dune podcast.
It's not a Dune podcast.
But what I will say, it's now a summer.
Get out of this multiverse. Get out of this Dune podcast, Gary.
It is a very good movie. It's a summer for part oneers because we have this, we have Fast X, and now we have Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning coming out in July. So they love their one-parters.
Yeah, directors couldn't figure out a way to make hour-and-a-half movies again, so now they're just making 2 movies.
I think COVID's over now, and they're just like, "Fuck it, we'll make everything super long." Last thing I want to mention before we go is the over-reliance of live-action Spider-Man movies in this movie.
Yeah, there was definitely a bit too
many references to Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, I think
no Tom Holland though.
No Tom Holland. I think for me, well, they referenced him with him in Doctor
You didn't
Strange.
see him though, which I thought was interesting.
Well, maybe they'll put him into the next one. Could be they could have a live action element in the next one. They actually put Tom Holland in, and maybe like a live action Miles Morales.
Yeah.
But one thing, I think I don't mind the cameos of live action stuff when they're like off screen a little bit, where they're like not center stage.
Yeah.
But like very much like, especially the Andrew Garfield one was like center stage.
Yeah.
This is it.
But also as well, like when you look at the cameo from the woman from Venom. Where the Spot goes into the convenience store that Venom usually frequents. Like that was great. That was just like it's not too flashy. You don't like, if you don't know it, you're not going to feel like you're missing something. But it's just like it's enough of a nice of a little nod or a niche reference. Same, somewhat with the Prowler, the Donald Glover cameo.
Yeah, I
thought that was enough. That was enough.
It just went
for
on
me.
too long, I think.
Yeah, and like I said to you as well after we saw it, I was like, I'd much rather they have shown him as a Miles variant.
Yeah.
Because he's the guy who influenced this character to even exist. So I think, wouldn't it be cool to let him be Miles for 15 seconds? I don't know,
Yeah, I suppose they're putting it in the movie for a gag anyway. It could be like a cool gag.
And then what are the people going to say? It's like, isn't that confusing though? Because he plays the press. Like, no, because everything's fucking doesn't make sense in this.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about timelines when it comes to this sort of stuff.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, because because I'm just like, wait, so it's like some of these worlds are in the future and some of them are in the past, but they're all like...
Oh no, we start doing time travel.
Yeah, I know, it's weird.
But also as well, they have the Spider-Man. Remember the Spider-Man popsicle with the melted face from on the internet ages ago?
Yes.
That's a Spider-Man in this.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember I saw Bag over said Spider-Man. I didn't see popsicle melted space.
They saw it, but yeah, so they have. So if people start giving out to you, be like, oh, the Donald Glover thing's not realistic. There's a fucking icicle pop as Spider-Man. Get over yourself.
That's right. There was a chibi Spider-Man and an animated Spider-Man. Yeah, I'm sure. Like,
get over yourself.
Yeah.
Anything else for yourself to wrap up?
I was just thinking, like, honestly, like, probably like the biggest negative of the movie was that just like ending sort of just like, and now I have to wait for part 2 for a year, like
for something that feels like it could only be 20 more minutes.
Because we were like, it seemed to be reaching a climax, but maybe like there's gonna be a whole thing. We'll see.
Was it David I was talking to? Well, anyway, my prediction is it'll be 30 minutes of Miles trying to escape the Prowler, then the first 30 minutes of the movie while Gwen is trying to find them. They connect. And then they have a whole emotional comeback, and then they do stuff for like 20 minutes trying to get back into the other dimension. Then they get into the other dimension. Then they have to stop the Spot. So that's probably like that brings us up to maybe an hour and 30 minutes. Yeah. And then the last 30 minutes of the movie is the Spider Society versus the Spider Rogue people.
See, they also have to solve Universe 42. Because they've introduced a problem.
I feel like that's the first 30 minutes.
No, they have to solve the whole universe. Like, they're gonna have to fix that problem.
This is just burn it. There's too many universes.
Just burn it.
Just burn it. Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? Kang shows up.
Yeah. Just Unicron it.
Have you seen Transformers?
I saw Transformers Rise of the Beasts. I saw what Unicron can do.
I thought Unicron was in Transformers already.
Oh, Owen, we don't. This is not a Doom podcast. It's not a Transformers Rise of the Beast podcast. Okay. But I will say this movie it retcons a lot of stuff. So don't worry about it. But just fuck it. So in regards to like that third movie, I don't know how they're going to resolve like making it another 2-hour movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, I think that's like my thoughts on the movie. It is very good. They've sort of just nailed every aspect of it that I wanted them to nail. Mm-hmm. Looking forward to part 2. Annoyed that I have to wait for it.
March 2024.
It's only a year, which is nice.
Coming out the same month as Kung Fu Panda 4.
Oh, sorry, gone. Can't watch it now. Can't forget, is Jack Black returning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot to look forward to. In the meantime, though, Owen, thank you so much for coming back and do the podcast.
No problem. I think it's about time to end before we melt.
Yes, I think so. Much like that spider's popsicle.
Good callback. I like that.
If you would like to keep up to date with the podcast, there's a few things you could do. You can follow at Reeling in the Piers on Instagram. There's some clips on TikTok. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel where the whole audio goes up there as well. You can also follow myself on Letterboxd. Owen has Letterboxd too. He sometimes put up reviews.
I've started doing it more now.
There you go. He has some reviews. You can follow them there as well. You can also contact the podcast by either, like I said, commenting on the Spotify Q&A or by emailing reelinginthepiers@gmail.com. Be sure to subscribe and follow for more podcasts. Give us a good rating, please, and thank you. And I think that's everything on.
Yeah, as always, I don't recommend TikTok.
Wait, what were our three sets? Four. We got to four. No TikTok.
Yeah. The movie, Spider-Man.
The movie, Paramore's new album. Diablo 4.
Oh yeah, Diablo 4 was a good one.
And recommendation number 5?
Don't watch 65 million. 65. Okay. Don't watch that one.
I thought we rec on that, no?
I recommended to watch it, and now I'm recommending not to watch it.
Okay, so that's number 6 then.
Oh, is that 6?
Well, 5 would have been 65. 6 is now don't
watch 65, yes.
And 7?
Lucky number 7. This is it. This is how you round out a perfect bit with 7 instances of said bit.
My recommendation. And I'm sure that's where that bit will end. You know, just text your mother, text your parents. Text your parents and tell them you love them.